Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new Minecraft PSP update. And in this update, we're going to be taking a look at some of the changes made to Craft Server for the upcoming rework. So, of course, that means that there is an upcoming rework, which is basically going to be a simple rewrite of the entire program. Right now, we've updated it back to version 0.2 pre-3, approximately. Using the Zig programming language. It's a lot faster, it's a lot smaller, and it's a lot more compact, and it provides a better framework for the future. So, before I go ahead and get into it, I'd really appreciate it if you guys go down there, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified of whenever I upload. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so the first part we have to go ahead and take a look at is why did I want to actually change the code, and why did I want to do stuff like that. So the first thing is that basically I came back after like a 3-week break, and I decided to go ahead and do a full review of all of my code, and I realized that it sucks. Mainly because it's really unorganized, undocumented, and it has a lot of issues. Not to mention that on the PSP it's about 3 megabytes, which is pretty huge for all of the program code itself. That's not including all of the rest of things that we need to keep track of as well. So I know that there was quite a bit that needed to be done. Now, one of the problems is Stardust Engine itself is being just a big engine in general when you're including it. And in this case, we're not really leveraging all of it, so it's not really useful. It's actually kind of against that use case, and I do know that there are ways to go ahead and rework that, but I want to go ahead and make it very clean and very precise. So that was one of the big reasons. The next one was going to be that pretty much the way that the entire server worked was that it was using a bunch of really sort of hacky solutions to problems, and I wanted to go ahead and actually solve it in a way without necessarily having to base it off of the old code, because I know that if I base something off of stuff that's already sort of hacky, it's going to be hacky in return. So in this case, I went ahead and actually rewrote all of these sort of utilities in a nice, easy package. So then I switched the programming language to Zig for the reason that, one, it's cross-platform, it's very easy, and it's very small and minimal. So pretty much using it, I've really improved the performance. First things first is that the game code itself all is running within about 150 kilobytes, which is really good on a x64. Beforehand, it was running at about somewhere in the realm of about 3 or 4 megabytes of an executable, and I imagine on the PSP it's going to be a lot less as well, due to the fact that it's so minimal, and the PSP is 32-bit instead of 64-bit, which means that the instructions are going to take up half the size as well. Now, in doing this, obviously, we've created somewhat of a regression backwards in features. However, I do think that it's coming along quite quickly, especially in the last week or so, where basically it went from nothing to pretty much version 0.2 pre-3 already, and probably within another week, we could have it somewhere in the realm of version 0.3, probably pre-2, if not pre-3, and we could probably have a release out in the next 2 weeks for a full version 0.3 of Craft Server backported onto the PSP. Finally, taking a look at some of the other features, one of the big features of Zig that I really like was basically having somewhat of coroutines, having suspend, resume, async, and await, which basically means that you can have code running pretty much in parallel, and even though it's not necessarily truly parallel, it's going to be running at disjointed times, which means that it's actually more efficient for the server software in general, as compared to the way that I would have had to have implemented it in C++. This also means that right now it actually does support multiple connections at once, and I've actually rebuilt the entire infrastructure to be able to be used in such a way that there are either things that are globally true and things that are true only for the client. So you can only so that way you can have each client functioning independently of each other without necessarily ever interacting with the same sort of variables. That is, unless, of course, people are trying to change commands at the same time, which is going to have to be atomic anyways. So what this means is that it now has multiplayer support. Another big feature upgrade that I got is now it's on 1.15.2, and I'm going to be getting all of those chunks ported over for 1.15.2 as well. Pretty much, I've also implemented a full chat system, which is actually a chat system for once. It now actually supports all of these sort of coloring, the highlighting, etc. in a very simple to use manner overall. The reason I didn't update to 1.16.2 is mainly due to the fact that 1.16.2 right now for the protocol specification isn't completely figured out yet, and I'd really like to see it figured out. The other thing that's also important about this is that we basically are still in the active 1.16.2 release cycle, which is kind of hard to do when they're constantly changing with every new snapshot for 1.16.3 or 1.16.4. So until then, I'm not going to really want to update it to 1.16.2, although I've already implemented a system which makes it a lot easier to go ahead and switch versions than it was previously. Either way, this is a major update where you can still see the result here of going into the actual world itself. It's pretty much going to be the same phase that it was a few months ago, but it's rapidly progressing, and I think we're going to be able to see by next week another massive change. So with good news on the horizon, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video.